Hi, everyone. We have a very interesting topic and guest today. I'm going to introduce him, but he's going to introduce himself as well. His name is Dr. Jairo Borja, and he is a seasoned networking coach and founder of Borja Consulting Group. He specializes in helping business development professionals master the art of networking. Jairo, am I pronouncing it correctly? I think you told me before.
Jairo. Yeah, Jairo en español, Jairo in English. You good?
Excellent. Okay. Well, I'm gonna I'm
You
gonna
can say
say
however
Jairo
you
then.
like. Yeah.
Right. So he has extensive experience in entrepreneurship, and today he's going to share some practical strategies to build effective relationships, nurture connections, and closing deals effectively. I think you would be interested to find out a little bit more. So tell us a little bit about you. Introduce yourself and tell us how to pronounce your name correctly.
Hi, my name is Jairo Borja. I know for a long time I went by Jairo, but now my mom was like, "Your name is not Jairo. You're not a Greek sandwich."
That's
So I was like,
that's
"You're right." Okay.
correct. Yeah, she's
Mom
right.
is right.
She's
She's right.
absolutely right.
So I'm Jairo Borja. I'm the president of Borja Consulting Group. Thank you for that introduction. So what that means is, yeah, I'm a networking coach. I help small businesses. I help entrepreneurs and working professionals how to network strategically to build better relationships to kind of close more deals, right? So it's all about understanding the pain point, understanding the problem of the individual, and then from there, what can you offer as a solution, right? So I have a course, I have a book on networking, and I'm actually in the process as this is being recorded. I have a new book coming out, expecting first quarter 2025, and it's in the middle of editing at the moment. So that book, there's no title yet, but what I can tell you,
Uh-huh.
it's going to be on building relationships to kind of raise capital to close more deals. So it's like the part two to the book, etc. So that's a little bit about that. I also have a couple of nonprofit clients. One of them being a Chamber of Commerce, statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce here in New Jersey. I'm the vice president of programming. So what that means is sponsorship, grant, curriculum, you name it, reporting, coaching. I oversee that entire process because of my background in higher ed. They brought me in, and
Mhm.
I think I did an okay job up to this point, being
That's
able
great.
to revamping their programming, and it's always evolving. So we're always looking, never the same old cookie cut curriculum every year. We're always looking for ways to tweak it and improve it and help out the Latino community. I have another nonprofit client that I also do a lot of training and development. They are what's called a CDFI, Community Development Financial Institution. So what that means is they help the underprivileged and underserved professionals, mostly minority, with access to capital. They're SBA lender, training like technical assistance, kind of like where my pillar is, and also
Mhm.
helping these folks get certified. And with those certifications, they could go after government contracts. So I'm one of the trainers for there. And then last but not least, as I was talking to you a few weeks ago, I'm also in real estate as well. So on top of everything that I do, I'm also in real estate. So recently closed on a 48 unit. Well, as a team, closed on a 48 unit, and then my first deal was a few months before that, where we closed a 52 unit. So I'm a part owner of a 52 unit and a general partner as well in a 48 unit. So it's a little bit about me.
So, but you said you do quite a bit of
Yeah.
many roles. You have many roles. So I find that I do many things as well, and I go through seasons that I enjoy one, and then I just become kind of fed up with it, and I kind of focus on a different thing. I didn't realize the beauty of it. So, what's your favorite at the moment of all these roles?
I love them all, but I agree. It goes by seasons, right? Like this
Yes.
time of the year, I love this time of the year because it's close to Thanksgiving here and in the U.S. And then, of course, we have the holiday season after that. So there's a lot of galas, a lot of networking events.
Hmm.
There's a lot of end of year events. So everyone is in a great mood. So it's a great opportunity to meet new people. And I, uh, I always coach my clients, what I call clients, entrepreneurs, whatever. I say, look, this is the time of the year where you should be networking like crazy. Like for example, this is being recorded this week in November, right? As an example, I've already attended two events this week. One Monday, one last night. I'm attending a little a summit over the weekend. So I'm always farming, right? So it's always about
Right.
filling that top of the funnel figuratively with like prospects and turning those prospects into leads, right? So a lot of folks come to me and say, hey, man, I'm having trouble with clientele. Yeah, but what are you doing? Are you networking out there? Are you joining these groups? Are you putting
Hmm.
yourself out there? Are you on LinkedIn? Are you, do you even know who your ideal avatar is? And most
Yeah.
of the time is no. So they're not doing that. They got to
Well,
put in the work. They got to put in the work. So right now is a great time. So I love this time of the year because of that. And then, and in the world of, in the real estate game, it's we're all seeing what's happening here with the change in Washington, what's going to happen in
yes.
January, and then of course interest rates recently lowered, so that may impact in a good way, not so good way, depending on how you look at it. And there's always shifts in demand in different areas. But yeah, I don't have a specific favorite.
Okay.
I would say one A is
That's all
gonna
right.
be. They're all my children. They're all.
They are all your
Well, I'm
children. You
always
love
saying.
them equally. Yeah. Yeah. You
Yep.
approach them equally as well.
Yeah.
Differently, because
Yeah.
each role is a different beast. Not
I
to
know.
say that
100%.
children are beasts,
No, no,
but
you're right. Exactly.
not. I'm not saying that just because
Yeah.
I don't want to get cancelled.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. No, agreed.
So okay. So there is a lot to unpack there, and I think networking. We all want to get better at it, and I as a professional, an entrepreneur, a lecturer or assistant professor in American English, well, you have to go out there, and I'm an introvert. You might not think I am, but I am.
I would have never guessed it.
Well, I am an introvert, and
Yeah.
most people actually don't enjoy networking. I know that you specialize in business development professionals, and of course, they have to master this skill. So, if you could unpack, maybe tell us what networking is or is not, and how can we get better at it?
Great question. I get this asked a lot in different ways, right? So networking is the opportunity to connect with new people, and then with the opportunity to help them in some way, shape, or form, right? Whether it's directly as a client, or maybe as a referral partner, or maybe even helping them out in some other way, shape, or form, right? It's about building those relationships and finding synergies, right, with one another, right? So networking, but people make the mistake, it's not an opportunity to just drink and party and
Mm,
that's it, right? But there's also a lot of work. The work is not just that one day, right? A lot of people think that, okay, I'm going to collect all these business cards and, yeah, that's great. It was a successful day. The second step and a lot of my mentors say that sales is made in the follow up, right? So I'm very good and I coach and I hammer it that the sales is made in the follow up, right? So like as an example, last night I met 2 or 3 folks that I know we could do stuff with. So right away, I emailed them right away. I also the other skill is not just emailing them right away for follow up, but also leveraging technology, right?
mhm.
What I do is I have a CRM, customer relationship management software,
Yeah.
CRM. Salesforce is like very expensive, but I have HubSpot free. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So long
Lower
story
level.
short, I use HubSpot, and what I do is I'll have between me and my team, we'll enter all the names in a system, and then what I'll do is I'll reach out to them to follow up, and if I schedule some time to connect with them, um, I'll uh, I'll also enter some notes. Hey, like this person is a Mets fan,
Mhm.
Yankee fan. Any notes about that, so that when the meeting does come up, I'll look at their LinkedIn, I'll look at their website, and I'll look at my notes, and I'll refer to that note. Hey, yeah. So how's the
Yeah.
kids? How's that? So there's a whole skill behind that, right? Yeah. That's what networking is, and not. And networking is the first of several steps as you take folks through the sales cycle. But
Yeah.
it's not. It's definitely not a party. It's definitely not just a party.
So I guess you have to have a very clear intention or goal in mind when
Right.
you go out there. And let's role play a little bit. So I'm there with a clear intention to get leads for my
Yeah.
business,
Yeah.
right? For my coaching business. And I spot you and I approach you. Tell me what's a no, like how I should not approach you and what not to do.
Oh, good question. I made a mistake early in my career. I would just go like give my cards like frisbees. Don't do that.
Oh, okay.
Introduce
Okay.
yourself, firm handshake, eye contact, say hi, I'm Monica, or in my case, I'm Dr. Jairo. Nice to meet you. And then one thing that everyone should practice, whether it's your network, my network, is your elevator pitch, right? So who you are, what you do, like what pain point you address, and basically how can you help, what are some of the challenges you help with, why you, and then basically some type of call to action, right? So when I coach my entrepreneurs, whether it's with the chamber or private clients, always end with a call to action. Hey, let's have a cup of coffee, let's have a Zoom, follow me on my website, something, right? Don't just
Yeah.
say, hey, bye, I'll see you later, right? Have some
Follow
type
up.
of
Yeah.
call to action to that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then for introverts like you, or just folks that don't know how, because people just think it's just a robot. I'm gonna spit out my
No.
elevator pitch. You're gonna spill out elevator pitch, and that's it. And I'll move on. No, that's the whole technique behind that. So once you guys understand what you guys do, in my first book, Networking Way to Success, cheap plug, teaching, I
Yeah.
discuss, I
Do you share the
discuss
link,
like
please? I will share it.
I will. I discussed the Formea method, right? So family, occupation, recreation, motivation. And then I added education and achievement. So what does that mean? So a lot of folks get stuck. Like, what do I talk about in 3 or 5 minutes to somebody, right? So very easy. Think about the acronym: family. You have married, kids, divorce, whatever, right? Very easy commonality there, right? Occupation. If you guys know, if you're in a networking event and it's like other real estate professionals, you have similarities there. Recreation, like I like to walk and work out. If it was up to me, I'd work out 3-4 hours a day and do my business, and that's it. But I got other responsibilities, right? So
Yeah.
occupation, right? Recreation. And then motivation. What motivates you? It could be faith-based. It could be money. It could be family, right? Um, Education. Like you and I have that commonality of the PhD dash DBA, right? So we have the commonality there. And then achievements, right? It could be certain milestones. I just closed for this calendar year. My first 2 multifamily deals, or maybe you did too. So there's that commonality there, right? So once you think about that, it should be very easy, very casual for you to have a conversation, right? And the last piece, and I'll shut up, is don't spend too much time at an event with one person, because you're
Right.
missing out the opportunity of connecting with other folks. It should be at least if it's a traditional networking event, right? So go in, introduce yourself, do the talk for a few minutes, and then go, right? Because you don't want to miss out on the opportunity to talk to other folks.
Okay.
I
I
hope that helped.
guess.
That was a long.
Yeah. No, it does. So, well, I'm not. I'm sure you have a kind of your avatar, right?
Yeah.
In terms of demographics, I would say for women is a bit different. I don't know what your experience as a coach is, if women network differently, mostly because sadly, still they are the ones responsible for childcare
Yeah.
mostly, and you can go out at night as you're
Yeah.
what kind of mother are you if you go out and to the
Yeah.
networking events where the decision makers are? So, that's the inequality in it. So what advice would you give to women who are moms, they have careers, they're ambitious, they're in leadership? How can they balance this
Yeah,
in
I have a
grow their
mix of
network?
clientele between male and female. So I would say 50-50, ironically.
Hmm.
And, at least the folks that I talk to, just, just keep it balanced, right? So I would
Okay.
say definitely, like, if you exercise in the morning or night, whatever, one, two, and two, with your partner, regardless of the situation, I would say try to, work it out that way. Whether it's like, for example, on Friday, not this Friday, next Friday, my Mrs. Borja is going out to an event with her, networking with her staff, whatever, right? So it's my turn to be daddy duties, right? But then
Yeah.
during the week, a lot of times she'll pick up Emma, my daughter Emma, and then I'll go out network. She knows that I'm not just out there
Okay.
partying. I'm out there trying to like do business, right? So it's just so to answer your question, it's just working with your significant other in order to find that work life balance with others, right? And then for those that are single, just keep in mind that again, set that clear intention that it's strictly business, and that that is not anything past that, right? So
Hmm.
because you do get those as well, right? That folks, you don't want to mislead anybody, especially women.
Okay. So earlier you mentioned, thank you for that. I think the women in the audience will really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what about if I really hate networking? I know I have to do it.
You got to do it.
How do I, first of all, I'm not saying myself, but where do I go?
Yeah, great
And
question.
maybe online, can you also
Yeah. You can
maybe
mix it
bring
up. Yeah,
something in?
especially now because of this world of COVID has exposed us to the fact that look, we're doing this interview. You're across the pond, right? And I'm here
I
now,
am.
right? So, yeah, there's a lot of virtual opportunities. If you join like a BNI or a tip, there's some in-person stuff, but there's also a lot of virtual networking. There's a lot of webinars that industry-specific organizations do. So through those
Yeah.
webinars, sometimes there's a component where there's a breakout session and you could connect with other like-minded folks. You have networking groups here in the States like H7, and there's a few others that have virtual networking groups every couple of weeks. I told you the one about Pantheon, which is
Yeah.
the gentleman that he was a podcast guy and he's a referral guy and he has like a mastermind. So yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
opportunities to do virtual stuff on top of in person. But I would say for the in person stuff, just so understand who your avatar, your persona is, and then think about where they hang out. So is it a chamber of commerce event? Is it an industry specific event like public relations service, Thing of America? And there's also other like conferences where like you have like-minded folks that are in the room, right? So as an example, I'm in the air regarding attending this conference in Phoenix, the 20th to the 23rd. Partly because my birthday is the 22nd, so I don't
Oh, I
know,
see.
but it's about raising capital for real estate, right? It's a gentleman by the name of Hunter Thompson. I read his book, Raising Private Money. I think that's what it's called. I'm not even too sure. But long story short, I'm always looking to what is it? Iron sharpens iron. So as good as okay as I've been in 24, I'm always looking to improve, right? So yeah, so you could go to like those conferences where you may meet your future client or partners.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. So tell us about, maybe you can want to share a little bit about your second book that is coming up. Tell
Yes,
us a
yes,
little bit about it.
nah, it's a great. It's interesting because my book, I released it. I'll tell you a story about the first one and how it connects to
Yeah.
the second one, right? So
Yeah.
I wrote the first book in 2019. I wrote the core of it in like 2 weeks. Obviously, the
Wow.
back and forth, there was editing that took longer than that, but the core of it, I wrote in 2 weeks. And my intention was to release a book. I mean, I wanted to put myself out there as a thought leader, and then 2020 was going to be my year, right? Oh yeah, it's
Of
good.
course.
I was
Yeah.
already making connections with like New York and LA and Florida and Texas. As
Hmm.
you know, the pandemic happened, so
Yeah.
that all went away, and I wound up having to do a lot of virtual stuff, and I just never gained the momentum that I
Yeah.
intended to. I literally had my book launch, a private book launch with my friends and family. I think it was like March 9th, and then like the middle of March, everyone said like,
Yeah.
we're closing everything up. So I was like, wow. So
Wow.
yeah. So what I
Hard.
did was in 2020, like 2020, everyone was trying to figure out life, right? So I started a podcast, still out there, Dr. B Show. And
Yeah.
then I created a course, Transforming Way to Success, and it was okay. Um, but the second book is about the next piece, right? So, I gave you the techniques, right? The Formea, I gave you the techniques as far as the CRM, but the second book is about building relationships. So what does that look like, right? So I discussed in the book briefly the first one, but I go in depth with the law of reciprocity. So what it is basically if we're meeting or if we're having a conversation, and I have to an extent with you, it's not just what's for me, like how can I help you, right? So it's all about giving back and helping you out, whether it's exposure, whether it's introductions, whether it's maybe work with you personally. So I'm always
Hmm.
looking to help and give back. So that's one thing about me. I'm never just about me. I'm always about being able to how can I help the individual out, right? So and that's why when people come to me, like people say, hey, I need a job, like I'm not getting paid, I'm not a referral fee or anything like that, but I just do it because I like to help people out, and and then I believe in good karma as well. So
Yeah.
and karma does come back. So did
Okay.
I answer that question?
Yeah, I think so.
So that's what the book is about. And then the later chapter, sorry, I didn't finish it. And then the later chapters discusses since I'm in real estate too now, I've expanded it on like how to find money, right? So you'd be surprised. There's a lot like here in the United States. There's folks that have money in old 401k, that they move to a new job. They have money like 10,000, 20,000 sitting in a check in an old 401k, or they have it in an IRA that nothing doing nothing. I discuss a lot about like grant programs that are good for business or for housing, and I discuss also like tapping into like your home equity and all that. So I get very granular when it comes to that, and I discuss ways to raise private money, which is very similar to networking. It's just
Yeah.
you're just looking for investors instead of customers. So that's what the book is about. Sorry, I kind of I went on a tantrum, but I came
No,
back.
no. So I think, well, how can you spot a taker, right? And I recently had an invitation to talk about how to build relationships for the long game. And I talked about the reciprocity as well. And well, what research shows is that strategic givers are the ones who succeed at the end. However, how do you cope with the takers, the people who are out there do not really understand or don't want to apply the principle of reciprocity? Maybe tell us 2 or 3 strategies how you shut them down, or you see them coming from 2 miles and you what do you do? Do you run away? What do you do?
No, here's so I always give, but I don't give completely. So I give a piece, but I don't give completely. So if they do run away or if they don't work with me, I'm cool. They'll have my one Formea strategy, but I don't I give them the appetizer. I don't give them the whole meal, right? So
Okay.
I'm fine with that. And I'm cool with that. Like I met someone earlier in the week. I think we'll do something well together. I hope to do business with him next year. I met someone else earlier this week. I didn't know where his intentions were. I was like, okay, is he going to invest in the course or not? So I gave him some free stuff, but I didn't give him the whole shebang, right? So yeah, my. So to answer your question, I always give a taste, but if you want the whole thing, you gotta invest in yourself. So that's how I see it. So
Okay. So you talk a lot about in terms of business, but I get clients and some of my students as well. Not all of them want to have a business. It's for more for career. I know career can be a business, but more
yeah,
for employability
sure,
in a company.
sure.
So I think it's a bit different. So how are they different networking for the purposes of
Yeah.
employability and
The tactics are the same. The CRM stuff is the same. The only difference is like instead of saying, look, I'm looking for accredited investors who make X, Y, and Z, or I'm looking for customers, you're looking for your ideal client for your employer, right? Or you're looking for a referral partner for that. So, but the core is the same as far as attending the events. The elevator pitch is different, obviously. So
yeah,
I don't, you don't have to, you don't
the
own your own firm.
intention?
You're representing the organization, but that's the only, it's the only thing you're tweaking. But the core of it is the same. The core principle is the same.
Okay, right. So that would apply equally online, and I
Yeah,
guess,
exactly. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Do
absolutely.
you feel is you can build the same level of trust online as we would do face to face? Because I love doing networking online. I have no problem, but I find it hard to go out there because I don't know. I
I'm the
like the
opposite.
online world.
I'm the opposite. I love the in person. I don't mind the hugs. Like I think someone hugged me like on the first day. I was like, yeah, let's hug, whatever. So it's all good. But
That's good.
yeah,
Is it
but
more effective to do it
more
face to
effective.
face?
Yeah, more
Yeah.
effective face to face. But yeah, but you can still build the same rapport online. Again, it's all about helping each other and not just about me. It's all about we, as they say. And then yeah, and just being intentional. Like you said, have clear expectation and being intentional with whoever you meet, right? So, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, you can do it. Yeah.
So, what are the trends you think? Let's say in 2025, what are the trends in terms of networking or relationship building? How can we stay on top of things?
Great question. I think, believe it or not, we're starting to see a lot more now that the world's coming or somewhat coming back, right? In
Hmm.
2025, we went from all right shutdown to everything virtual to okay, we're slowly getting back outside, right, to the conferences, and now I think we're back to being in
Face to
person.
face.
Yeah, face to face. Yeah, so I'm starting to see more conferences up and running. You start to see it more online, more on site. even a lot of like the stuff that we do in New Jersey, like with the chamber or other organizations, the workshops are, ironically enough, the workshops are more are virtual, but like the in person, the networking, the galas is all coming back. So I would say it's gearing towards that, right? So
So let's say I'm new, or I am in a new country. 'Cause a lot of the people I work with are diaspora. They have moved. They're
sure.
first generation or second generation
Mhm.
professionals or business people. Um, and you really have to start from scratch. And that is my personal experience. I'm
Yeah,
originally from Mexico, and I lived in the UK, but I lived in other places, and I always had to start from
yeah,
zero.
yeah.
And that is challenging because sometimes it's not your language, it's not your culture. So
hmm
I think networking is a different game for people with a foreign background. I don't know what your opinion is.
I think it is to an extent, right? Obviously, there's a couple of barriers there, but I do think at the core, and I've been there, done that here, like with my employer, and even now in my business, right? So I started from scratch, right? And then my advice, the one thing that we did not discuss up to this point, and I'm discussing now, is volunteerism, right? So
Mm.
I joined a board about 10 years ago, in the security field, and thanks to that, and I didn't know anybody. I didn't know nothing. I literally, when I tell
Nothing,
you
you
I had
just
no contact,
volunteered,
I
yeah?
had no contact. So thanks to one person, she introduced me to three people. Thanks to those three people, the four of us kind of stayed in touch. I eventually became on the committee. I eventually moderated a few panels at the annual conference. I joined the Young Professionals Committee, and then now I have 20, 30, 40 people that I have at the court, right? My second example is I joined this organization in 2016, Prospanica, which at the time they changed their name from Nishimba to Prospanica. For those who don't know, it's been around for about 40 years. Used to be Nishimba, so now it's Prospanica. So it helps Hispanic MBAs and other professionals in three areas: scholarships, professional
Hmm.
development, and tries to connect them to get jobs with Fortune 500 or key companies, right? So I was the vice president of professional development, then treasurer, then vice president, then president. So the reason why I'm telling you the whole story was, again, I had no connections at all in corporate America. In higher ed, it was just lawyers and whatever because of what I did locally, right? But now,
Yeah, it's different.
I joined a national
Higher education.
organization with board members that now I have as connections. I built skills that I did not build in my W-2, and then now I have friends in other parts of the country. So to answer your question, I started from scratch and I was able to join two national nonprofits. And thanks to those, I'm sorry, nonprofit, I joined, I served as a committee and a board at the local level, but they were part of larger organization. Hence, I was able to connect with folks throughout the country and even throughout the world with the security. So to answer your question,
So
that's how I built
so
it.
you would say start with giving,
Yeah,
basically,
yeah,
from a place of giving.
yeah.
And is there a timeline, or every person is different and every networking strategy is different? Does it?
Yeah, every case is different.
Okay.
I can't tell you a specific timeline. I can tell you that for the security, it took me like 2 3 years for me to build momentum and build a base of like people. And then for Prospanica, it's interesting because although I joined at 16, I really didn't really hit my strides until like 2019, where I met folks from LA and all that. Because the first couple of years, I really didn't attend a lot of events, and I was all in 2019, and the rest is history, they say, right? So yeah, I would say my average is 2 or 3 years, I guess.
2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So I think I meet a lot of clients and students and people who I have conversations with, and I say, "Oh, you're an entrepreneur. You just launch your business. I've always wanted to do that, and yet they never do it." And I guess I was one of those as well. One of those people that I wanted to have my business, but I never found the time. What is it? What is it that stops you? And if you could say three skills, I guess networking would be one of them.
hmm
What would be the other two skills? To
Good question.
just
Very good
take the
question.
leap, just do it.
Have the cojones, have the leap, the balls.
Exactly, yeah. Take the leap is so hard. It's
Yeah, yeah.
scary.
And I would say the third piece is what you're gonna need it regardless is like organization skills, right? So I coach people to do it in different ways, right? So I tell people, look, you could just jump, make the leap, like kind of I did. I kind of like stumbled, and I'm on my feet now. But if looking back, I probably would have done it this way. I probably would have saved 6 months or even a year of salary just in case, so that if I
Hmm.
do take the leap and if I fail, at least I'll know that I'm covered for a couple of months, right?
Yeah.
Because out the gate, you're not going to make money. And the second thing is, if I could go back, I probably would have a clearer product or service to sell, right? It took me a long time to figure that piece out, and I would have a mentor, right? Someone who's already been there, done that, and kind of
Yeah.
what I did in real estate, right? But on my for the other business, right? So find a mentor that's already been there, done that, so that you're not spending money, wasting time, money of doing that, right? So for me, it was through trial and error, COVID too, and I eventually stumbled a couple of clients in 21. But if it didn't work out there, then I probably would have gone back to the workforce, right? So to answer your question, yeah, mentorship is key,
Okay, so
especially
it's not a skill actually, it's an element. So
elements. Yeah,
networking,
yeah,
organizational skills, and
yeah,
I guess the skill would be the growth mindset or the humility to
yeah.
seek help.
Seek help. Yeah, yeah. I'm very stubborn. I'm a guy, so I'm
I,
always in
I'm
the beginning. In the
I'm
beginning,
not stubborn. I'm
no, no,
impatient. That's my sin. I have no patience.
no, but me, I was like, in my case, I was like, I don't want to help.
Oh,
I
really?
I
I
got
think
this.
that's
I
more
got
for
this.
men, eh?
Yeah, yeah,
Men
yeah, I
do
got
that
this. I
more.
got this.
I don't
And
need
then
help.
and
Yeah,
then 3 years later, I don't got this. I don't got this.
yeah, yeah. You're proud. Yeah, as the
Yeah,
breadwinner, I guess you're
yeah,
deeply ingrained. I don't need help. I can do this on my own. Yeah, but you know what is funny because when you say it took me a year to know exactly what my product was, I've heard this before from other entrepreneurs,
yeah,
from 9 months to a year. And
yeah,
I wish somebody had the honesty. And I had a coach,
yeah,
and she wasn't the best coach. She was lovely in some parts, but maybe
yeah.
I would have chosen someone different.
Right. Yeah,
Um, and I also think that when you do it, you have to do it from a place of I want to grow
yeah,
rather than I want to save my career or
yeah.
something went really wrong. You were laid off and then you say, oh, I have to do something. And then you launch. It's different. It's a
It's different.
different
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree.
start.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I've heard people say 9 months to 1 year. So I'm curious if there is research. I'm going to go out and find out
yeah.
if the entrepreneurial journey, there must be stuff around
I'm
that.
pretty sure there is. Yeah, pretty sure.
Okay.
So
Well,
interesting.
thank
Can
you.
I tell you originally what I wanted to do? My
Yeah, go
original
ahead.
intention was to do workshops and help folks on transformational leadership. So that was my original thing, right? But I was getting no bites, so I
Okay.
quickly had to pivot, and I said, look, what book or topic I could talk about right now? If you say, Heido, I need you on that stage right now for 15, 20 minutes. What can you talk about? So I said a couple things. I could talk about sports, but I'm not gonna make money.
Oh,
Right?
that's what you like. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or I could talk about networking, right, and building relationships. I was like, okay, so that's why I said, you know what? I pivoted completely, and I started talking and doing that, and eventually wrote the book about it. So that's the story of the origins of Borja Consult.
That's interesting. The topic or my product, where it is from the beginning, but it's the angle. So sometimes you have to move 2 millimeters.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, transformational leadership. It must be quite competitive.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. So that's all good.
Sorry, I'm gonna edit this out. It's just that my light went off and
That's okay.
I'll edit a bit there. It's so much better. Okay.
Yeah, I felt you was
Um.
like in an interrogation room a
Yeah.
little bit.
Right. So personally, I have a question about mindset because I think you can talk about networking, but
Yeah,
if you don't have the mindset, it doesn't matter how many courses you take. So
yeah,
what would be that mindset in your opinion? Because I love talking about that. And people that come to me for help, they're like, well, we're going to work a lot on your mindset before I
yeah,
give
yeah.
you the skill.
Yeah, that's usually the first step. And like most courses that you take from most like all my mentors, like day one, they talk about mindset. It's all about that growth mindset. Say, hey, look, and like you said, it's a game of inches, right? You got to be patient, right? Not overnight you're going to be instant success. You're not going to go viral and then make all these sales, right? So it's about being consistent and doing the little things every day. Like, for example, right before this call, I have to, like, for me to get to where I need to get to, I have to contact 3 brokers, analyze 3 deals, talk to a potential investor. And there's one more thing I forgot, but I've been doing it every day, and I could see the results, right? So it's all about being consistent. So,
What about rejection? Because I think most people don't contact others or network because they fear or ask for what they need for fear of rejection. And it's horrible. And as an entrepreneur, I realized I had issues with rejection. And after a year, I got over it. I'm like, I don't care if you say no, I'm just going to go for it.
yeah. For me, fear rejections, it's a numbers game. Like, not everyone's gonna say, like, out of 10 people, 9 may say no, but all you need is that one yes. You just got to keep at it. Keep at it. Whether you're an employee, like working for an entity or organization, whether you're working for yourself, just keep at it. And the more, and in the beginning, you're gonna stumble. You may not know what a difference between a discovery call and a closing call is, right? You may not have a process, but once you have that process down pat, it's all the numbers game, and just practice.
Okay. So just do it. Have the
Just do it.
confidence,
Yeah,
I
get out
guess,
there.
and
Yeah. My
deal with
mentor
your
goes,
anxiety.
action takers or money makers. So there you go.
I like that.
You like
Right.
that?
So last question. Well, actually, I, I wrote my manuscript for my first book,
Oh, good.
but I want to know because it was hard,
Sure.
and I just stopped, and now I'm looking for an agent, and I know it's really hard, especially for someone with my background in a foreign
Sure.
country.
Sure.
It's double hard. So maybe give us some writing tips for those aspiring authors, and what can we do or not do? What is your recommendation since you have published already your book?
Yeah, already published, and I'm like 1.5 in on the other one. So the tactic I used was the first thing it was funny. It was in the course, but I already did it. I was like, okay, whatever. Was write your layout first, like the table of contents. Like, all right, chapter 1, I'm gonna write about this. Chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, etc.
Right.
And then what I did was write for this book, even this for this second book that I'm writing, I would time block. I would take like an hour a day and write and write and write. And one thing that they told us when I wrote my dissertation too, they gave us a little template as far as how to write the actual thing. But in
Right.
English, for my dissertation, they use a meal plan, right? So, main idea, right? The main idea of the paragraph, evidence, right? Whatever you want to use from the census, whatever, and your analysis, right? And then lead out, right? So
Yeah.
what is the conclusion, and then what can you do to lead out into the next paragraph? So that's what I used in my dissertation, and then I used that tactic for my writing. So time block. You could list the chapters, and then a little bit a day. You chip away until the end. That's what I did.
Do you think people what is preferable? Obviously, I think we all dream with the big five, is it the publishers?
Yeah.
But someone who is at the beginning of their journey and maybe they want to showcase their thought leadership with the book, like you did, what's the best route?
I did. I didn't go to Wiley or Scholastic. Unfortunately, I did not. For the first one, I went with a private publisher, and they helped me walk me through like putting it on Amazon and all that. And then now for the second one, I used it's called self-publishing, basically walk you through the process as well. But the difference between what I did before and now is I have a writing coach. I have a coach and I have a team
Ah, I
behind me.
see.
Yeah. And that helps me, push me to the end. So,
You need
but,
that. I also work with someone who helped me
yeah,
as well with
good.
the motivation and the
Yeah,
editing as well, the
yeah,
feedback, like, oh, this is rubbish. Like, okay.
yeah,
That
yeah.
really helped me. Right. So we're about to end. Is there anything you would like to add? Maybe a call for people to network a bit more. Maybe share where can we find more about you and your work?
I'll give you 2 calls to action. So my tip to everyone is, look, understand who your ideal customer is, regardless of where you're at in your career. And then I would say, yeah, just join a networking group, right? And I would say look for a nonprofit board as well. Give back while at the same time you're building your network, right? Your board, as they say, right? So that's that. And then yeah, call to action is if anyone is interested in and wants to work with me one on one or wants to know more about networking, I would say follow me on LinkedIn, Dr. Jairo Borja, or follow me on Instagram, Dr. Jairo Borja as well. Or you could also follow my company Instagram page, Borja Consulting Group, where I give a lot of tips and free material like networking checklists and stuff like that. So looking forward
Okay,
to it.
and
We'd love
I'm going to add the links to your book, the
Okay.
first book, and we'll keep an eye on the
On the
publication
second
of
one.
the.
There you go. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monica.